This may surprise you, but I am genetically predisposed to be a pork chop. Baby, am I wrong?
You got a little porky once.
Once. One time.
We first moved in together.
Yeah, how fat did I get? I'll tell you, 180 pounds. I normally, like right now, I'm 155. I was 180 pounds. I had cellulite on my stomach. I had a fat ass. Nothing fit me.
You wouldn't take your shirt off at the pool.
Today, gentlemen, I'm helping you beat your genetics into submission. So for this video, we're gonna cover some of the most common genetic issues that we as men face that make us feel a little bit insecure and less sexy, all right? Number one, we're gonna talk about our body, our physique, and certain muscles, and if and what you can do to actually make your body more aesthetic, chiseled, and sexy. Number two, we're talking about your facial angularity, bone structure, and attractiveness. Number three, we're talking about hair, both on your head, but also on your face, because beards, who doesn't want a better one? The next thing we're gonna talk about is your height. And lastly, we're gonna talk about your wiener. So number one, let's talk about your body or your physique, all right? The number one tip I can give you is if you want to avoid being skinny or avoid being fat, consistency in the gym and consistency with your diet is key to everything, literally. All right, the reason why my entire family is short and fat is because A, they're Italian, and B, they don't take care of themselves and do the things they need to do consistently in order to avoid that trap. Every single one of us has certain muscles that we are genetically like gifted at and other muscles that we are genetically like not gifted at, right? You'll see a few freaks that are like genetically like perfect in terms of their bodies, but they probably have a little wiener. Kidding. Not really. Whatever. It doesn't matter. What does matter is that you work all of the muscle groups. If there's some muscle groups that you basically have an easier time building or are more aesthetic, right? You may not have to work those muscle groups as hard as the ones that are lagging or lacking. It's all about prioritization, right? It's about prioritizing the muscle groups that aren't as good and working them extra hard in order to try to get them to grow and catch up a bit to the body parts that you are a little bit more genetically gifted at. But the truth is that some of us are just always gonna have imbalances, and it's okay. You've gotta basically embrace it, you've gotta work it as hard as you can, and you've gotta strive for the most aesthetic physique possible. The truth, I'm just gonna throw it out there. It's not your shitty genetics, it's your diet. All right, that honestly is the number one thing that you need to modify or change if you don't want to give in to your genetic, basically predisposition, all right? Like me, I come from a long line of short, fat Italians, but because I am consistent with my workouts, and I've been consistent for years because I am consistent with my diet, consistently eating healthy, making good choices. By doing this repeatedly for years, it has allowed me to basically not give in to the short, fat Italian curse. Number two is your facial attractiveness, all right? So here's the deal, all right? Unfortunately, the majority of us were not born with Greek godlike bone structure, but the good news is that there's some things that you can do. If you're somebody that has a round face and you want to basically have a more angular and aesthetic face, what I'd recommend is reduce your body fat. That's step number one. Big jaw, no problem. Step number one, lose weight. Gentlemen, lose body fat. A reduction in body fat of 10 pounds is significant, and you're oftentimes going to see the reduction in your face. That is one of the areas that unfortunately we as men gain weight fast, right? It's also in our boobies and our love handles, but our face, right? This is another area. By reducing your body fat, boom, you're gonna have a more angular face and it's gonna be more aesthetic, all right? Also, reduce the amount of subcutaneous water you're containing by increasing the amount of water you're consuming and also decreasing the amount of sodium and shit food that you're consuming. Strengthen your jaw muscles and have better head posture. Two things we're gonna unpack, all right? Jaw muscles, right? By working these by chewing gum every day, this is a great way to actually build the mandible muscle. And when you do this, it's actually gonna widen your jaw. It's also gonna make you have a stronger looking jaw. Beards are sexy, but they're also the best way for you to add interest, structure, and to strengthen a weak jaw, right? Beards are kind of like the male equivalent to makeup. You know how a woman won't be like super sassy, but all of a sudden she throws on like a smoky eye, a little blush, a little lip gloss, and boom, she's smoking hot? Beards do the same thing for dudes, right? Because it's gonna make you look more rugged, more manly, it also simultaneously is going to basically add weight and structure to the lower portion of your jaw, making you look better. The other cool thing is if you can't grow a beard, no problem. all facial hair, adds interest and detail and dimension down to the lower portion of your face. And if you're somebody that's losing your hair or going bald, it absolutely makes you look better. But what doesn't make you look good is losing your hair and going bald, which is the next thing we're gonna talk about. I'm actually gonna share a few tricks to get a thicker beard after I tell you how to get thicker hair or get the hair back that you already lost. All right, Bosley, they're today's video sponsor. You guys know I love Bosley. If you missed the video that I did where I actually went out to Los Angeles and filmed Pete getting a hair transplant and talking to the doctor, I'm gonna link to that video down below. Bosley, as you know, they are the hair doctors. They've been in the hair loss game for like 50 years. And when it comes to keeping your hair, getting your real hair back, guys, there is nobody that I trust with my hair other than Bosley. And the beautiful thing is that even if you are predisposed or genetically your dad or your grandpa or whoever, even if they're not, and you just happen to notice more hairs in the drain, or you're starting to see a little bit of thinning, or you're starting to see more scalp in pictures, or if your girl's like, Brian, excuse me, but you're losing a little, right? That's always fun. So Bosley RX, in my opinion, is a game changer for dudes that want to keep their hair or get the real hair back, all right? What it is basically a service that ships you prescription hair loss medications directly to your door. It's discreet, it's affordable, it's super easy, and right now for a limited time, guys, they're giving you 2 free months of treatment if you use the discount code ALPHAM and hit that link down below. So the way that it works, guys, you hit that link down below when you sign up. You answer a few questions, and then they've got different hair loss medications depending on you and what you're looking for. In terms of the different hair loss medication options, you've got finasteride, which is a game changer when it comes to hair loss. You've got minoxidil. You can get finasteride and minoxidil together. They also have this new cutting edge like compound. It's basically a topical that's a combination of finasteride and minoxidil together. It's amazing. Right now, limited time, for those of you who hit my special link and use the discount code ALPHAM, you're gonna get 2 months of treatment for free. Did you hear that? Free. 2 months. Gentlemen, it's a no-brainer. If you are somebody that is ready to get the real hair back or stop your hair loss from happening, now is the time. Because the sooner you catch it, the sooner you start acting, the sooner you're gonna be on your way to loving your hair again. Do not allow genetics to basically make you insecure about the fact that you're losing your hair. There is something you can do about it. And like I said, right now, for those of you who go through my link, use the code ALPHAM, you're getting 2 months of hair loss medication treatment for free. Back to beards. All right, so one of the big things that guys struggle with and feel insecure about is the fact that their beards aren't thick and luscious. Mine was patchy as hell up until around the age of 35 when my testosterone really kicked in. All right, one thing you can do is wait, right? A lot of times just waiting will increase your facial hair follicle formation. Lift heavy weights, gentlemen. There's nothing better for your testosterone to be coursing through your body like spawning salmon, swimming up a stream, like lifting heavy shit. Squats, deadlifts, bench press. When you lift, your body releases testosterone. The more testosterone, the thicker your beard typically will be. Unfortunately, a lot of times when you have high testosterone, you may also see or experience thinning of the hair on top of your head. And the reason, it's all about the conversion from testosterone to DHT and all sorts of not sexy stuff. But the good news is that Bosley is here and you're getting 2 months free. Biotin. Gentlemen, the B vitamins, Biotin specifically, amazing in terms of hair growth and health, all right? Not only for your luscious locks on top, but also for that luscious, sexy ass beard that's gonna help strengthen your jaw. Now let's talk about your height. So you're a short dude. Is this genetic? The answer is yes. Unfortunately, I've been a short dude all my life. Now, there are things that I do in order to maximize the illusion of my height, but the bottom line is, if you're a short dude, there really isn't much you can do. You know, number one is stand up straight, right? Good posture is critical, but if you're a short dude, you already know that. Something else that I do is wear boots or wear shoes that have a little bit of an extra right sole or heel, all right? It's a great way to add an inch or two to your height. Now, some other things you can do. Dress in dark monochromatic outfits, right? The blacks, the grays, the charcoals, the navies, the browns, right? A monochromatic look basically means that your top and the bottom are very similar in terms of the palette and the color. And by doing this, it's actually gonna make you look taller, longer, and leaner. Something else you can do is wear clothing that fits your body properly. All right, the big baggy style is definitely not something that a short dude should wear. You wanna make sure you're wearing clothing that fits you and is tailored whenever possible. Anything that breaks the visual line from your head down to your toe needs to be modified or eliminated, all right? You don't want to wear basically like horizontal stripes. They're terrible for short dudes. You are going to want to stick to things that are more solid in terms of pattern and color, honestly. You want to go with the darker tones, all right? If you're somebody that is small or thin, what I recommend is go with the lighter colors, right? The white. It's basically going to make you appear larger, all right? The dark colors makes you look smaller, but it also makes you look taller. The light colors reflect the light, making you look bigger, thicker, and more muscular. Speaking of thick, baby, is there something? What's so funny?
Nothing.
You like that transition?
Speaking of thick.
Exactly.
I don't think you're talking about my waist.
No. All right. So speaking of thick, is there something that a dude can do in terms of basically if he's like genetically not like big and thick and girthy and long and strong, is there something he can do to overcome that? Oh, hold on. That's your wiener calling. It wasn't your wiener, but back to you. Is there something a dude can do?
Yes, there is.
What would that be?
It just so happens.
It so happens what?
I think you might be talking about the product today.
I'm not actually.
Pump?
No, I'm not talking about it, but I'm kind of referring to it.
Yeah.
Does it work?
Yes, it does.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
It's a 10, guys. Just give it a shot if you feel like you need it. Just do it.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Gentlemen, the deal is this. Something else you can do, right? A few things. There are surgical procedures. I would not recommend that, right? Because like the lengthening procedure doesn't actually make it longer. It just looks longer. Any type of like pneuma, that's basically like a silicone sleeve that like slips under. I wouldn't recommend that. It's like $10,000. A few other things you can do is reduce your body fat. That will actually make it longer. It'll get harder if you want to use something like an L-carnitine or L-citrulline, two amazing amino acids to increase nitric oxide. The more nitric oxide, the more relax your blood vessels. The more relax your blood vessels, the more blood flows into Big Al, your main vein, making them rock solid, thicker, and harder. Gentlemen, that's it. Genetics, they're a bitch. But hopefully after this video, you have the tools you need to punch it in the nuts.